Hello guys and welcome to another video. The INMOTION P6 is literally the most powerful wheel ever. It's been developed for a long time. INMOTION got the help of a few advanced racers in order to make the wheel better performance-wise. The P from the P6 comes from the word performance. And this wheel is definitely a performance EUC. Initial communication on this wheel was made from a racing angle. INMOTION even built an official INMOTION racing team. With the P6, they won all the races easily. With this, INMOTION proved that the P6 was superior to any other electric unicycle. Okay, you might say, I'm not a racer, this wheel is not for me. By the end of the video, I'll show you that the P6 is more than a racing wheel and that it's probably the most complete electric unicycle. Before we get into it, gentle reminder to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any new video. If you would like to get the P6 or any other electric unicycle, there are links in the description down below. Using my links really helps the channel as well. In advance, thank you very much. Let's get into it. The P6 is a 235 volts wheel. It has a 6000 watts motor, the most powerful motor ever installed in a wheel. Battery-wise, we got Samsung 50S batteries with a capacity of 4200 watt-hours. This is slightly higher than what you get on the Sherman L. When it comes to suspension, we got hydraulic shocks. These shocks have 90 mm of travel. The weight of the wheel is 112 pounds, 51 kilos. INMOTION says that the P6 is water resistant. IPX6 for the entire wheel and IPX7 for the battery packs. At the front of the wheel, you got a headlight, a front handle and a glowing INMOTION logo. On the sides you can find black and orange spike pedals. The pedals are not adjustable. On the side panels you got an INMOTION P6 branding. At the back you can find tail lights, a back handle and a kickstand. Finally at the top of the wheel you got a trolley handle and a massive display. And that's pretty much it. Let's go now with the things I like on the INMOTION P6. I like the suspension of the INMOTION P6. The wheel is equipped with hydraulic shocks. This is the same thing you're getting on the Sherman L. Hydraulic suspension is always the best thing you can get. It's easy to use, you can unbox your wheel and go for a ride as is. INMOTION started to implement this type of suspension with the V12S. I'm glad they did, because on the P6 the suspension performance is top notch. I like the design of the INMOTION P6. It's not orange. Thank you very much INMOTION for dropping the orange since the V12S. Okay, let me correct. It's still there a bit, but not as much as, for example, for the V14. The wheel is designed with good taste. This product feels well finished. It's made with a mix of plastic and metal parts. The front and back handle feel nice in hand. The side panels are very flat and will be convenient to put any sort of pads. The spike pedals are grippy enough and functional. The trolley handle is original, it does the job but could be better. I love the speed and power available with the INMOTION P6. These are clearly the selling points of this wheel. INMOTION says that the P6 can hit a potential top speed of 93 miles per hour. To me this is really exciting, not for the speed itself, but for its potential when it comes to safety. Hear me out. The PWM percentage is a metric that shows you the power used by the wheel as you're riding. If you hit 100%, the wheel will cut out. If you look at my past reviews of other performance EUCs, you can see that as a tall and heavy rider, I'm always at around 75 to 86% PWM for a top speed that goes between 50 and 60 miles per hour. Let's do a speed run with the P6, staying in the same kind of top speed range. This way, we'll be able to compare the PWM value we get on the wheel versus the other past performance EUCs I've tested. In this speedrun, I've hit 55 miles per hour wheel speed with a PWM of 52%. I repeat, as a tall and heavy rider, I've hit 55 miles per hour with a PWM of 52%. I've only used half of the power of the wheel at 55 miles per hour. I'm absolutely speechless looking at these metrics. So what can we conclude from this? Well, we can conclude that the P6 will offer you a gigantic headroom at high speed. With such a potential, we can also project that, depending on your weight, riders could hit a speed of 40 to 60 miles per hour wheel speed while being at around 30% of battery capacity. You can see that as well in my New York City Riders First Impressions video. The power to speed ratio of the P6 is definitely the biggest selling point of this wheel. The wheel is fast and powerful, but how does it ride? I think that the ride feel of the ENMOTION P6 is great. This electric unicycle is really stable, well balanced. Even though it's a 112 pounds wheel, it doesn't feel heavy at all when riding. About the PSI on the wheel, every rider is different, but for me, I felt that I needed the PSI to be at around 26 to 30 PSI. It's kind of low. At first, I got the wheel with a 40 plus PSI. It wasn't great at all. It felt very unstable. I asked what was the PSI used by some INMOTION racers, and I was told 26. This is insanely low. I gave it a try and it felt very nice. The INMOTION P6 is very practical. Perfect city wheel. The torque in traffic riding is awesome. Riding the P6 is effortless. When you walk the wheel, the trolley is usable. It could be better, but it's still very usable. The kickstand is fine and solid. The big display of the P6 is a great addition to this wheel. First, it's a color touchscreen display. Compared to the competition, you're in the future here. You can customize at your liking whatever you want to see there. Personally, I like to see the battery voltage, the current speed, and the top speed. On this display, you can configure almost everything you would be able to do on the INMOTION app. Another thing I appreciate with the P6 is the pedals configuration. In the settings, you can change two things about them: power assist and pedal hardness. Power assist was not working on my prototype unit, so I just focused on the pedal hardness. With this setting, you can set the pedals very hard or very soft. I'm a soft mode rider, so I've set the pedal hardness to 18%. Usually on the latest wheels, the soft mode is very bad. On the P6, it's quite different. They got it on point. Pedal hardness at 100% makes the pedals very hard. Alright, let's go now with the things I don't like with the INMOTION P6. The pedals of the INMOTION P6 are not adjustable, and to me this is an oversight. Everything about this wheel is configurable, except for the pedals height. I don't really understand why. Every rider is different. For me and my use case, I prefer to have lower pedals. In that configuration, these help me with better stability at high speed, at low speed, and they make seated riding easier. Thanks to eRide, I could install and test their pedals lowering kit. The results showed up on the spot. The P6 felt zippier in traffic. I also did a few speedruns, and when it comes to stability at high speed, there is a noticeable improvement, especially with the wind drag. I know this is an optional improvement. You don't need it. Stock, the wheel is great as is. But it's just my preference to have lower pedals. If riders prefer higher pedals, congratulations. This kit can also make your pedals higher. Everybody is different. If I can make my rides more comfortable with low efforts, I'll just do it. I must say that when it comes to range and battery capacity on the wheel, if you stick to speeds sub 40 miles per hour, I think, in my opinion, that you're gonna get something similar to the Sherman L. What I'm noticing is that as soon as you decide to go beyond 40 miles per hour, then your battery capacity is gonna melt like ice in the desert. I remember a ride where I started the day at 80%. Then I went to ride in traffic for a few miles, 20 to 40 miles per hour. After that, I did a few speed runs, the ones you saw before. And then after that, more ride in traffic, 20 to 40 miles per hour. And I ended up the day at 23% of battery capacity. The entire ride must have been between 8 to 12 miles. I sent this feedback early on and I was told that on this prototype unit, battery management needs to be updated with a firmware update. Why not? I'm sure some things are being done, but meanwhile, I think it's being transparent to give you this feedback. Personally, I'm not surprised with what I'm observing because the more power you use on the wheel, the more battery is gonna take, especially at this higher voltage. It's just logical. The INMOTION P6 is a formidable wheel. Unfortunately, it's very expensive. The price is $5,000. That's not a price I like for an electric unicycle. Definitely, you gotta pay to play. I'm observing that every year, new wheels get more or less $1,000 more expensive than the previous year. Where is the EUC market going pricing-wise? If wheels are getting more and more expensive every year, less and less riders will buy, and the EUC community could also end up shrinking. Don't get me wrong, you can't set a price to passion, and passion will definitely make riders buy expensive things like the P6. I would have just preferred that the P6 could be priced slightly lower so that more riders could get it. I'm all about getting the community bigger and bigger. Expensive prices will turn it into an exclusive club. The Lippert-Kim Sherman L is often considered as being the best wheel ever. The INMOTION P6 is the next evolution of the Sherman L. It's a Sherman L with double the power. There is a before and after riding the P6. With a combination of speed, power, customization, practicality, design, and ride feel, the INMOTION P6 made it so that no wheel on the market can compete against it. Once you get one, I doubt you're gonna need any other 20-incher wheel. In this review, I tried to show you guys that the P6 was more than a fast wheel. This EUC is a device full of functionalities and amenities. It's a complete electric unicycle. With the P6, you got everything you need with an EUC. You got stability, you got speed and safety, with the headroom provided by this electric unicycle. Congratulations to Albert and the INMOTION racers for the work they provided on this wheel. Without them, the P6 would have been certainly different. The INMOTION P6 is not just a racing wheel, it's more than this. The INMOTION P6 is simply the best all-rounder wheel.
俺のベゴードは最速だぜ。行くぞ。
口寄せの術インモーション P6。
何？